Seeing Charlie's determination, Owen sneered and said to Solomon, "It seems some people are really tired of living. Go and prepare for me 3 sticks of sandalwood, an ornate silver censer, and an oak wood sword. I'll grant his wish myself." Solomon didn't dare to hesitate and had everything ready in a flash. A moment later, sandalwood was burning in the censer, sending a thin curl of smoke into the air. Mr. Owen raised the oak wood sword, chanting under his breath. Standing next to him, Christian started to feel dizzy, as if his head was pounding and his temples were throbbing. He tried to bear it, but he really couldn't stand it and pleaded, "Mr. Pierce, how much longer is this energy alignment session going to continue?" "Your family's aura is very heavy," Owen replied. "This reaction is a sign that it's working. It needs time to do its job. Please, just hang in there for a little while longer." Hearing Master Pierce's command, Christian could only grit his teeth and endure. But the longer he had to be patient, the more uncomfortable he became. He wasn't just nauseous. A sharp pain was now stabbing through his head. But fortunately, a charm he wore on his chest suddenly grew intensely warm, the heat spreading through him and protecting his heart, keeping him from collapsing on the spot. Christian was shocked. "Isn't this the charm Charlie gave me?" Unaware of what Christian was thinking, Owen took a sip of water and sprayed it onto the oak wood sword, then swiped the blade through the rising smoke. Just as the sword swept across the smoke, Christian suddenly felt like he'd been hit hard in the head. A sweet, coppery taste filled his mouth, and a spray of blood spurted from his lips. "Uncle!" Stephen cried out, shocked, and rushed forward to hold him up. But Christian's face was ashen, and he didn't even have the strength to speak. "Mr. Pierce, what happened to my uncle?" Stephen asked anxiously. Owen's expression remained unchanged. He said, "The Knox family's aura is too heavy. I had to break it with an aggressive energy alignment technique, and the head of the family is naturally the first to feel its effects." Christian struggled to pull his weakened body upright. "Thank you, Mr. Pierce, for setting this up," he managed to say. "I am grateful." After he had coughed up the blood, he actually felt a lot better. Not only that, but Stephen also felt the positive change in himself and quickly thanked Owen as well. Terry frowned and said, "Owen is really skilled. The evil spirits in the Knox family are so strong, and he managed to lessen them. The guy really knows his stuff." Everyone there was an expert in energy alignment, so they didn't need an explanation. They all understood that Owen had broken the curse of the Knox family's evil spirits, and they looked at him with newfound admiration. "Uncle, let's go sit over there." Stephen helped Christian to a chair, then turned to glare at Charlie. He said provocatively, "So, what do you have to say now? Hurry up and give our family our money back." Charlie smirked and said, "I can give you the money back, but I'm afraid Christian won't be around to spend it." "What?" Christian was completely shocked. Charlie glanced at him coldly and said, "Look at your palm. Do you see a thread of fate?" Christian's face went pale. He quickly turned his palms up and froze. He saw a faint thread of fate etched into his palm. This thread of fate started from the fate line on his palm and stretched all the way up his arm. Christian was horrified. "What is this? I didn't have this before." Charlie said coldly, "This is your fate line. The Knox family is so cursed that Owen is using your life to resolve it. In 3 days, this thread of fate will reach your elbow, and then you'll be dead. He's using the good karma you've built up over your life to change the Knox family's destiny." When Christian heard this, he was so shocked that he froze. Stephen was also panicking and quickly looked at everyone in the room. All the masters there nodded slightly when they saw what was happening. Christian wouldn't live for 3 days. Stephen dropped to his knees with a thud and begged Owen, "Mr. Pierce, please, save my uncle." Owen looked arrogant and sneered. The spell has been cast. How can it be undone? I used Christian's life in exchange for your family's survival. You should be thanking me." Skylar also turned pale. She bit her lower lip, struggling with what to do for a long moment, then dropped to her knees in front of Charlie. "Please," she begged, "save my dad." Charlie glanced at her and said dismissively, "Since your Knox family chose to believe in Owen, this has nothing to do with me. So why are you asking me to get involved?" Skylar's eyes were red. She gritted her teeth and said, "If you can save my dad, I'll do anything you want." Charlie smiled and said, "I'm not interested." Christian also ran over, knelt in front of Charlie and cried out, "Mr. Wade, I was completely fooled. It was Stephen who tricked me." As he spoke, Christian yanked Stephen over and started slapping him hard across the face. Stephen kept dodging. Skylar also grabbed Charlie's leg and cried, "Please, just save my dad. Please." Charlie sighed and said, "All right, everyone stand up. I was just scaring you. It's nothing. Fortunately, your dad is wearing the warding charm, or he wouldn't have the strength to be slapping Stephen right now." Christian looked doubtful. He took the charm from inside his shirt and said, "Is this really working?" Charlie nodded. "The thread of fate is fading quickly. With Owen's cheap tricks, he's a long way from being able to break my charm." Christian looked down at his arm and saw that the thread of fate had dimmed a lot and was slowly disappearing. He couldn't help but be overjoyed. "Thank you, Mr. Wade. If it wasn't for you, I would be dead today." Charlie waved his hand and said, "It's because you got lucky. You happened to be wearing the charm. Otherwise, I wouldn't have bothered with you." After he finished speaking, Charlie turned his head to look at Owen and said, "Now, the result is obvious. Aren't you going to admit you lost?" Stephen finally came to his senses, knelt on the ground, and apologized to Charlie without saying a word. Owen's face turned red with fury. He stared at Charlie and snarled, "You think you won with a few cheap tricks? I was going to spare your life, but you're just too stubborn. I'll give you one last chance. Hand over the clams, kneel down, and apologize." He didn't want to use his final trump card, but it had come to this. Charlie had already beaten him, rendering his whole plan useless. What's more, once he played this card, not even he could completely control it. Everyone here might die. Charlie's face turned icy. "And what if I say no? You forced my hand!" Owen snapped, and as he finished speaking, he took an obsidian altar from the box beside him. A few black mosquitoes flew out of the altar and instantly pounced on the meat and vegetables on the table, devouring them. Warnia looked baffled and said, "Does Owen raise mosquitoes?" Everyone watched the black mosquitoes swarm the food, and it was a bizarre sight. The other masters present were completely confused. They had no idea what was going on and started murmuring to each other. But a moment later, the meat dishes that the black mosquitoes were eating rapidly changed color, and countless smaller black mosquitoes emerged from the meat. In less than 5 minutes, the fresh dishes on the table were all rotten and spoiled, and a dense swarm of mosquitoes emerged from them. There was a rooster on the grass in the yard, one that the White family kept. A few of the mosquitoes flew toward the rooster at an incredible speed. After more than 10 seconds, the rooster shrieked and flapped its wings wildly, then dropped to the ground, convulsed, and died. From the feathers of the dead chicken, a large black mosquito wriggled out and flew into the air. The swarm of black mosquitoes in the sky was thick, rushing toward the crowd like a tornado. The yard erupted into chaos, and the crowd scattered, desperately trying to get away. These black mosquitoes were extremely poisonous. They didn't just bite people, they also burrowed into the skin through the wound. The mosquitoes were tiny, only the size of grains of sand, and a bite would cause intense swelling and pain. The masters in the yard used every trick they knew, throwing lucky charms and chanting mantras, Some people even dove under the tables, while someone else jumped into the pool with a splash, screaming the whole time. "What in the world is this?" Warnia was terrified. "It's a ghoul!" Terry was shocked and furious. "It's a dark art from West Texas. I can't believe Owen would raise something so evil." Owen laughed cruelly and said, "This ghoul is made from an unborn child. It's the most poisonous thing there is. Since you won't show me respect, none of you are getting out of here alive." The swarm of black mosquitoes grew larger and larger. An old master was bitten and swelled up all over. He started vomiting black blood and fainted, collapsing to the ground. The sight of the black mosquitoes swarming the air was enough to make your skin crawl, and Warnia was panicking. But soon, she discovered that there wasn't a single mosquito anywhere near Charlie. As soon as the mosquitoes got close to him, they instantly turned into black ash, as if they had encountered something absolutely terrifying. At that moment, Charlie smirked. He started walking slowly toward Owen, completely untouched by the swarm, holding a seashell charm in his hand. This was the thunderclap charm he had created. It gave off a faint, glowing light with a crackle of thunder around it. Seeing this, Owen muttered, "How are you doing this? This is impossible." Charlie looked like he was bathed in a halo, like a god had come down to earth. His expression was calm. "Impossible! The necromancy spell is unbreakable. No one can stop it," Owen roared hoarsely. Charlie looked at Owen and sneered. "You call that power? Today I'll show you what real supernatural power looks like." Then Charlie yelled, "Here it comes!" As soon as he spoke, there was a loud crash. In an instant, a clap of thunder shook the sky. The clear sky from just a moment ago suddenly filled with black clouds. In the blink of an eye, the entire sky was covered with dark clouds. "This is—" Terry looked up at the sky, too shocked to speak. Everyone, including Warnia, had the same stunned expression. Christian murmured, "It's a miracle." "This is a miracle." A second later, a bolt of silver lightning shot straight down from the sky. A furious bolt of lightning struck the swarm of mosquitoes, instantly turning them to ash. Tables and chairs splintered, trees toppled over, and the air filled with the sharp smell of something burning. But Charlie just stood there, with his hand raised, staring coldly as the lightning flickered around his body. A powerful wind swept through the courtyard, and a heavy rain began to pour down, washing the whole area clean. A few seconds later, the crowd snapped out of it and started scrambling for cover, terrified of being struck by lightning.